Mary Gay Scanlan. I grew up along the Canadian border where there are a lot of cows, but I came down here to Philadelphia for law school in 1981, and in 1995 moved out here to Delaware County. Lived in the same house for 24 years, and during that time I have lived in the 7th, the 1st, and now the 5th Congressional District. Absolutely. So I'm Mary Gay Scanlan. I mentioned before, I live in Swarthmore, live there with my husband and formerly my 3 children, but they're all out of the house now, which is one of the reasons it makes it a good time for me personally to try to run for Congress. As I mentioned, we've lived there for 24 years. I came to the area originally to go to the University of Pennsylvania Law School. After law school, I became a trial lawyer, did that for a while, and then I went into the public interest sector. I had already been doing pro bono work for a number of years, representing children in the abuse and neglect system. I went to work for the Education Law Center of Pennsylvania, and the purpose of that organization is to make sure that every public school student in the Commonwealth has access to a good education. So we worked with Good Schools PA, with a lot of different groups. We had a long-standing class action in the city of Chester trying to reform the very, very broken school district of Chester Upland. We did have the distinction of getting the first fine ever assessed against the Commonwealth Department of Education for failing to meet the needs of kids. But unfortunately, then the Corbett administration came in, and their solution to the problems in Chester was to put in charter schools and to charterize as much of that school district as possible. And we know what a disaster that's been. I left the Education Law Center because I had an opportunity to do something different. For the last 15 years, I've been pro bono counsel at a national law firm. And there I give away tens of millions of dollars worth of free legal services to poor people and to civil rights. Yes, take another card. Yes, so I give away free legal services, and we work on things like providing representation for people who are about to be deported and otherwise wouldn't have it. We provide representation to people seeking clemency. We had 29 of our clients got presidential clemency under President Obama. So 3 times in my life I've really been spurred to step outside of my job role and to take some public action. And the first time was 18 years ago after the Columbine shootings. At that point, I charged 2 school buses to my credit card and took 90 of my neighbors down to the Million Mom March. And I've stayed involved with the gun control activities since then. The second time was when our school district had a bad, thank you, when our school district had a really bad construction project. And Francine Belay knows all about it because she was the teacher rep at the time. We had kids in the middle of construction. It was a disaster. And at that point, we couldn't get answers from the administration, so I ran for school board and served 2 terms with the Wallingford-Swarthmore School Board, was president, served on a tax commission as well there. And the 3rd time has been this year. Since the inauguration, my job has been much more difficult. We've been representing immigrants who are threatened with deportation. We've been representing a variety of voting rights groups around the country because of the constant threat from gerrymandering, strict voter ID laws, etc. So, yes, one more, and then I'll be done. January 19th, all of a sudden, I was no longer going to be in the 1st Congressional District because the state Supreme Court threw out the Congressional districts. So that was one thing. The second thing is the next morning, Congressman Meehan's on the front page of the New York Times for yet another Me Too incident. So we had the collision of the Me Too issues, which have been very close to my heart. I think probably every woman in this room has been subjected to sexual harassment at some point. And then we also had the voting rights issues. So that was it. That's the point at which I decided I had to run. Thank you. I run mostly because I also like to bake. I'm running because facts matter, and there seems to be a real dearth of facts in DC right now. Okay, the fact is that Hillary won the popular vote. The fact is that the Republicans have worked very hard through their red map strategy to undermine our democratic institutions, whether it's through gerrymandering or strict voter ID or other attempts to marginalize a lot of voters who happen to be Democrats. I'm running because facts matter with respect to immigrants. Okay, we represent a lot of immigrants in my firm who have come to this country because they are hardworking and they're seeking a better life. And I'm running because the fact is we do not have enough women in Congress. Mary Gay Scanlan. So I'm happy to answer any questions that people have, and you can go to scanlanforcongress.com and find out where we're going to be, or email a question. I'd rather you ask the people in this room that I've worked with and the people in the community. So whether it's the teachers I've worked with at Wallingford Swarthmore, the people I've served on the board with, people from the many Delaware County nonprofits and Philadelphia nonprofits, the Mummers Museum, Garrett Williamson Foundation, Chester Eastside Ministries, Fair Districts PA. Ask the people I've worked with. I think they'll tell you that I'm hardworking, I look for solutions, and I try to bring people together. So thank you.
Thank you.